Well, the election results are out, and we have seen that in Delhi, the BJP's vote share was 45.76%, AAP's share was 43.55, and the Congress share was 6.36%. Now, on 25th January 2025, Agrani Media had published some sort of an analysis stating pretty clearly that even before the first vote would have been cast, there was a clear disadvantage for the Aam Aadmi Party regarding the vote share. So, what was stated was even if BJP retained 5% of the swing vote, the vote share of Aam Aadmi Party was getting disturbed. I'm just repeating what was shown earlier. Just have a look. Now, there are two factors here. The clearing factors among the Dalits, plus 24% BJP, and among Muslims, plus 21% for the Congress. 19% gain among the poor for the BJP and 17% among the Congress. These three parameters are perhaps likely to determine the result in Delhi. Now, the mathematical conclusion is very clear. All the three parties might be trying to retain or improve upon the swing. That's quite common. But mathematically speaking, if the BJP and Congress hold on to even 5% of the 15% swing voters each, that is, even if they forego 10% of the swing voters and retain 5%, then the Aam Aadmi Party vote share would fall to 44%, and the BJP's share would rise to 44% and the Congress to 9%, which means that the Aam Aadmi Party could end up losing the polls 31 to 39 to BJP. But what clears the issue finally was that the middle class swing vote swung entirely towards the BJP, and you have two aspects. One was the announcement of the 8th pay commission and the income tax relief to the middle class. Coming in between the date of elections, date of polling, and the announcement of the electoral code. The election code was in operation, but it is highly debatable whether this can be allowed by the election commission. That's a different question altogether. But interestingly, that's how it is. You go for election, you go to polls, fair enough. War and peace, everything is fair enough. But there is a very interesting analysis about a species known as the Stickleback fish, and this species behaves quite similarly to what our politicians do. Let me go step by step. One is the stickleback males are highly territorial and defend their nesting areas aggressively, often chasing away rivals. And in politics, nations and leaders throughout history have fiercely protected borders and resources, sometimes leading to conflicts and wars. And just like in politics, the stickleback's aggression can be strategic. Strategic aggression, showing strength to deter rivals while avoiding unnecessary fights that could lead to exhaustion or injury. A strategic aggression, what is that? Now, the image built by Arvind Kejriwal was about a very honest to the core, fighting corruption. Those were the days when he and Anna Hazare created quite a lot of atmosphere, trying to propel the people against corruption. And the middle class was totally with Arvind Kejriwal. But look at the strategic aggression. The BJP ensures that a good number of people from that party, including Kejriwal, are behind bars, and then to tell the public that yes, we have not meddled with them, or we have not tortured them, or we have not created trouble to them. They are out on bail. But the damage is done because people at large have come to the conclusion that nobody in politics can be free from corruption. That goes for everybody. If you want to put a chief minister behind the bars, you don't need to do much homework. That is how our system runs. But then the CNDG also giving a report, and the liquor scam sounding more serious. That completely erased the reputation of Kejriwal and his party. And mind you, he lost his elections. So that is strategic aggression and showing strength to deter rivals while avoiding unnecessary fights that could lead to exhaustion or injury. Now, there's something else. If somebody studies the stickleback fish, which actually they travel in groups, and then they ensure that if there is an enemy coming up, they act in unison, they escape. There's a lot of sociology with this particular species. And look at the campaigning. The BJP sounds as though it's going to campaign against the corrupt Kejriwal government. But it leads the campaign, or rather misleads, puts Kejriwal in a tight spot, corners them, and they only concentrate on the local issues of pollution, Yamuna, sewage, and all that. And then checkmate Kejriwal where he doesn't have good answers at all. So that is strategic politics for you. Now look at the second contour. The sticklebacks, I'm talking about the fish. Some individuals take on leadership roles when swimming in groups, guiding others in choosing safe paths. And in politics, societies develop leaders, elected or self-appointed, to make decisions on behalf of the group. Leadership among sticklebacks is often temporary and depends on confidence, just as in politics, where leadership shifts based on elections, influence, or public trust. You have Narendra Modi at the helm of affairs. You put Nadda there, again Amit Shah, and suddenly you bring in Yogi Adityanath, who will talk about the Mahakumbh and we create Prayagraj, and he will just show up Yamuna to be clean here. Now look at propaganda and misinformation. Now there is this element even in the sticklebacks. Males develop bright red throats to signal strength and attract mates, sometimes exaggerating their qualities. And in politics, politicians use speeches, campaigns, and sometimes misinformation to influence public opinion and gain support. both rely on perception. Whether it's a fish appearing stronger than it is, or a politician crafting an image to appeal to voters. Look at alliances and group behavior. And the sticklebacks, what they do is they sometimes form temporary alliances, swimming in groups of protection. In politics, countries, parties, or politicians form coalitions and alliances for mutual benefit. Just as nations form treaties or political parties make temporary deals, sticklebacks will cooperate when it serves their survival until the alliance is no longer needed. And look at decision making and democracy. In the sticklebacks, the fish I'm talking about, studies show they often use a form of collective decision making in groups, choosing safer routes based on the majority. And in politics, democracy is functioned through voting, where the majority's preference determines outcomes. So the difference of vote share may be hardly 2%. That makes a lot of difference. Because at the end of the day, what you're talking about, vote share is about votes polled across the constituencies. But when you're talking about winning or losing, you're talking about each constituency, where in a multi-party system, one party has got more votes than others. That's all. It may be even 30 votes, but the 30 will be a majority where the other side is not one party getting 70. There may be 3 or 4. And each party might not have got 30, but the winner is 30. Is that majority rule? That's for the experts on parliamentary democracy to debate. Now, charismatic leadership and populism. Sticklebacks, more dominant or aggressive males are often more successful at securing mates and territory. And in politics, politicians with strong personalities or populist strategies often gain large followings. A stickleback leader, like a politician, might use displays of strength and confidence to attract followers, even if others are more qualified. That is a dichotomy. Imagine if you want to hold on to power in a state, maybe you got power in Punjab also, and you're looking at something like a nationalist role. You just dabbled with the India alliance. Nothing happened. You lost all the 7 MP seats. You gave up that alliance. You went back to your grassroots level, and so you thought you were a one-man army. But finally, that's not the right approach, because politics has a lot to do with leadership in the larger context, rather than a minuscule area where you can compare KCR of Telangana with this man in Delhi, because that was the place where they really fumbled. N.T. Rama Rao, when he wanted a larger role in Delhi, he was elected the chairman of the National Front. But immediately after that, he lost Andhra Pradesh, the then united Andhra Pradesh, the elections in Andhra Pradesh. The point is that, are you able to play the role of a larger leader, a leader at the helm of affairs, who can play this game to perfect finish? A stickleback leader, like a politician, might use displays of strength and confidence to attract followers, even if others are more qualified. Now, a leader like Arvind Kejriwal will certainly have only a limited role, because you have just come up against the phenomenon of corruption. You appeal to people as though you would be giving a very honest and clean administration. But you didn't climb any further step from there, either in terms of governance or in terms of consolidating the kind of mass middle class appeal across Indian politics. But mind you, politics still runs only on the only on the shoulders of leadership and the way the leader combines a lot of things. Finally, this is more interesting. The three-spined stickleback fish. This fish has three spines, mind you. Is a microcosm of human politics, with power struggles, strategy, alliances, and even deception at play. Their survival strategies show that many behaviors we see in governments, elections, and leadership are deeply rooted in evolutionary biology. See, our survival depends on the mechanism we have and we create to derive life sustaining oxygen from the environment, while fish have this great capacity to derive oxygen from their environment, water. Both adapt and innovate according to necessity. That's what is more important. So the parallel analysis of what happens around us, elections will be everywhere. The takeaway is both humans and fish, despite of differences, are shaped by the same fundamental need to adapt, innovate, and survive. Whether it's our political structures, social behaviors, or even how we extract oxygen from our environment, evolution pushes us towards efficiency, resilience, and strategy. But there are two aspects again, finally, which are to be read in, in isolation. And one is the attitude of the ruling party at the center, uh, which is revealing. You want to torment that section of the population which has not voted for you to such levels that you have no choice but to vote for you. That is no good for democracy, at least federalism in the context of the Indian constitution. The second one, BJP as a party is certainly going great guns in its strategizing and energizing its cadre. They have a very strong cadre, they work very hard, and this is a revelation that they have worked hard in Delhi. It's not just like that they have got their vote swing. They have identified, like the three-spined fish, the three areas of the swing voters, as pointed out by Agrani Media earlier, before the elections. One is the middle class, and amongst the middle class, they have seen the economic class and the OCs, and a section of the SC and STs. And finally, they have also penetrated the Muslim vote. So, even before the first vote was cast, as revealed by us, the Aam Aadmi Party was on a pedestal which was shaking because of the mathematical derivation that even if BJP held on to the 5% swing vote which it derived in the Lok Sabha elections of 2024, the Aam Aadmi Party's vote share was going to fall. And even 1% more than that. Now this is more than that. So finally, BJP ends up with 48 and Aam Aadmi Party with 22. Now look at the third dimension, which is the Congress. Nothing to really discourage Aam Aadmi Party. They have done well actually. In spite of this strategizing, they have got their vote bank amongst the lower classes still intact. Their loss is because they could not improve upon that and hold on to that swing vote which was going away to the BJP. This was their loss. So getting 22 seats and sitting in the opposition in an assembly which has 70 seats, not more than that, is by itself not a big loss. But Congress, which comes out and says we are happy that Aam Aadmi Party has lost, is a disastrous statement, in my opinion. The kind of homework, the kind of strategizing, the kind of campaigning, and you have not even evolved the right data and identified the areas where you are supposed to campaign. Rahul Gandhi and his sister simply go and sit in the Lok Sabha as though they've got a couple of seats in a prestigious institution just by way of some sort of a recommendation. They sit there and then come out. Instead of that, this is the kind of understanding of politics and energizing their cadre which is more important, because in future, if the common Indian is looking for an alternative for the BJP or the NDA per se, is got to be the Congress and not the Aam Aadmi Party or say the DMK. And unfortunately, the Congress is not active in its cadre-based management. They have a very poor understanding of the way one has to proceed when you approach elections. This is very important for a nation.